What's up? Hope everyone's having a good day and is ready for another video in the series we like to call Underrated Throwers. Now today we got Erik Cadee. He was a discus thrower from the Netherlands, teammates with Rutger Smith, who I did a video very early on in this series about. So Erik Cadee from the Netherlands, PR like 67 something? I forget. I'll link his personal best, notable accomplishments, height and weight in the video description as always. Yeah, I think he's very underrated because let me say a good way to put this. I believe so now. Okay, let me put this way. So like when you see people like Ryan Krauser do like the Krauser slide, or you see Matthew Denny now and he's doing like a step in and stuff like that in his wind. So Erik Cadee, I'm giving credit for probably one of the more innovative techniques ever. And I think he was one of the first ones to really stray away from the modern day discus technique, or terms of traditional. And you could probably see what I mean by by what he's doing in the back of the ring and how he's set up. So let's play this. This is a 66-meter throw from him. Now, as you can see, nobody really throws like this. I think the only other person was Julian Ruck, who was a South African thrower. I think that was his name, something like that. Yeah, as you can see, nobody really does this, but I think he's very underrated in the fact that I don't know if he started this trend, but I think he made people realize that you can stray away from the traditional discus technique or rotational technique and throw far still. All right? And still make world championship and Olympic finals and all that. All right? Like, you can still do that. And I think that's very important because I think what's happening now is now people are starting to experiment and find new ways to throw really far. Now, I'm not saying just everyone go throw like Erik Cadee because, this is a very, very, very... Not a lot of people can do this kind of throw. But I think it's more of what it stands for that makes him underrated. Is that, people could feel better about experimenting with the throw. And I think it's very important not to get stuck in one way of doing something forever, because that gets boring after a while. You always want to innovate, whether it's business, sports, or everything, So, yeah, that's something to keep in mind. But now let's break down this throw. And it's going to be kind of difficult too, because it's so non-traditional. This might be the most non-traditional technique I've ever seen in my entire life. He basically does like two fulls in one, like two full throws in one. So let's break this down. So he winds. So his left foot is starting in a normal place, but his right foot is here. And like kind of not even in the middle of the ring. But here. And fun fact, actually, this is the Trine invite in San Diego, which I have competed in a couple times. Got to meet Robert Harding there, and Daniel Stahl, and Vestina Stuyson, and Simone Peterson, and Sam Mattis, and a whole bunch of plethora. Oh, Valerie Allman, too, and Maggie Ewan. Just a whole bunch of plethora. One of the best discus comps or places to compete ever because of the wind that they chase here. So a lot of like really, really good throwers, like Olympic caliber throwers and international throwers compete here. So that's just a little fun fact I thought I'd share. But let's go to this throw. So he's here. Winds really high, kind of like Jürgen Schultz in a way, except a little more angled and with a really high right arm. So he's here. Turns. So he basically does a full throw if he was going to throw this way, out the back. So he goes here, except he just keeps turning, and now he's doing a full throw. And the reason why he does this, or the only way this makes sense in my mind, is to just produce way more momentum out the back. As with the Krauser slide and some other kind of styles. This is just a little more of a... This is like a very extreme example of an offset out the back in discus. In fact, this is about as offset as you can possibly be, really. So I said in the beginning of this video that not everyone can do this, nor should you really. I mean, if you want to just do it for fun, just as like a gimmick, I mean, that's cool. But I mean, like, you can try it. You can. The thing is, you can always try something, you know. But I would be very careful if you're like actually like competing still and stuff, and like, one, listen to your coach. If your coach doesn't want you to, then, you know, do it. But like if you're like me, for example, well, actually I still have a coach, but like if I didn't have a coach, like I would just try this just for the hell of it. You know, why not? What could it possibly, like, what could go wrong, honestly? So I think it's just a fun discus technique. But if you can actually do it, and you have to be so technically sound you can do this. So Erik Cadee, in my opinion, is one of the best technicians ever. And I think that's also why he's underrated. For the simple fact, to do this kind of technique, you have to be so technically sound out the back. Alright? Because think about it. You basically are doing 2 throws in one, all in a row. Alright? Like right here, if he was throwing this way, he would push. He would get off here. And this would just look like a normal throw. Then he just keeps rotating and does another full throw. So it's kind of crazy. It's almost kind of like the drill that people do where you do a 360 into a full. But nobody like actually throws like that because that's so inconsistent and can lead to really bad throws. Which Erik Cadee was also kind of known for being one of the most inconsistent throwers of all time. Which is probably why later in his career he just went back to a traditional discus technique. But when he actually threw far, he threw like this. So, yeah, and he threw like this for the majority of his career. So, yeah, I thought that was very... Like, the first time I saw this, I was very confused on why he started there, and then... Like, saw Erik Cadee throw, not this particular video. So, like, the first time I saw Erik Cadee throw, I was like, well, that's a weird place to start, and then... Oh, he did this, and then I was like, whoa, that's kind of cool. I actually tried it the next day, too, to my coach's dismay. It didn't really work out very well. I was still in high school, and wasn't that technically sound compared to what I am now. Not saying I am very technically sound. Although, I don't know, I like to think I am, but not like this, but not good enough to try this, but... Yeah, so, anyway, enough about me, you know, because somehow these videos always get to me. So I'm super narcissistic. God, I'm illiterate. Anyway, let's get back to this. So he's here. Normally, like, I can't even grade him really like a normal traditional throw, because normally I would say this is way too steep of an orbit. And I would like this left arm to be flatter, and I would like the left armpit to be over the knee. But because he's doing this turn, see now, like now he's in a traditional spot, so now it is lower, like his arm is flatter, his armpit is over his knee, and now he just does a traditional throw. And I think he has some of the best orbit too. Oh, it's such a good orbit. And such long arms. I think he's really tall. I think he's like 6'8" plus or something. I can't imagine he's anything less. Like, he just looks so tall. I think he was taller than Rutger Smith, and from memory serves me correct, Rutger Smith was around 6'7", 6'6", so I think Erik Cadee was taller than him. But again, I could be wrong. I'm just basing this off memory. So, here. And now we can get into a traditional technique. So really good here, holding the chest. I really like this nice hip tuck that he does. Really like this. Like when Erik Cadee was actually throwing good, like when he was in his prime. See, Erik Cadee right here is actually kind of older. This was in the 2010s. So he's here. Boom. Lands. Pretty stacked. It's hard to tell from this angle. I'm just going to assume that he's stacked. It looks like he's stacked. With his right side. Catches super far back. Doesn't really work the ground that much. But this, I know I've talked about in previous videos, a momentum-based throw. This is literally the definition of a momentum-based throw. So yes, he doesn't work the ground, but because he generated so much momentum out the back, it honestly doesn't even matter. Yes, if he actually pushed against the ground and turned kind of like Krauser, I do believe he would throw further just because of physics. But I mean, with this kind of style, you don't really need to do that to throw super far, honestly. I think Erik Cadee, if he actually worked the ground and had a little more of a consistent release, I think he could have been a 70-meter thrower. He had all the tools to be a 70-meter thrower. Just never put it together. And I do think this finish is a little high. Well, let's see. Where's his high? So his high point is here. Let me get a straight line. His high point is not there. It's Jesus. Right there. So let's see. Yeah, okay, so never mind. He's following his orbit. It looked like he kind of scooped it a little, but no. I would like this. Me personally, I would coach a longer right arm, a little more reaching over here. But, yeah, that's just a nitpick thing. So, yeah, and, he does really good staying in, really on balance. And again, just looking, going the wrong way. Just looking at this throw, I mean, it's something to watch. That's true. He's one of my favorite discus throwers to watch, just because of this technique. Honestly, I mean, don't get me wrong. I mean, he threw really far. Even a 66-meter throw. There are not many throwers in history that have thrown over 66 meters. When you really think about it, once you get past 65 plus meters, it's not a select few, but it's definitely a lot smaller than the less that of people throwing 60 meters. I'll tell you that. So 65-meter plus throws usually gets you into a world champ and Olympic final. And that to me is what I consider elite. When you throw a mark that can get you into a world championship and Olympic final. That's when I consider you elite. So a 20-meter plus shot putter. And I mean you can throw that on a consistent basis. Not you just threw it once. So that's something to keep in mind. No, actually, that's not really something to keep in mind. I just say that. I mean, because, that's just my opinion. So that's not really something to keep in mind for you guys, but whatever. So, yeah, it's very hard to grade this throw just because nobody besides, Julian Ruck, that comes to memory, even throws like this. So it's hard to judge this and compare this to other throwers. Maybe I would personally not coach this kind of sweep where the knees are the knees coming in. I would personally an out, but maybe for this style, I don't know enough about this style to grade this, because maybe he's experimented with it, and this knee going in makes it easier to turn more out the back. Or I guess you can kind of say over-rotate out the back in a good way. Who knows? I certainly don't. If you know why he did it, if you actually knew Erik Cadee, to the 10 people who watch my videos, or watch the series, comment down below, because I would like to actually know like why he does this sweep. I think I know why he starts that high is because if he started really level, he would probably have a super exaggerated high point really early. Because like once he gets here, he's flat. Like he's in a really solid position. So yeah, I think that's why he starts super high. Because that's not where his high point is in the middle at all. So yeah, I think that's why he does that. That just makes sense to me. But I could also be talking on him a bit. So yeah. But other than that, hope you guys learned something. Wow, it's not a 20-minute video. Look at that. So yeah, overall, just a fun thrower. Really important to me in the throwing world, and I think he just goes unappreciated for like trying a technique that nobody has done before and nobody's really done since. So yeah, don't be scared to innovate. Don't be scared. And if you innovate, doesn't work, oh well. At least now you know it doesn't work. So yeah, keep that in mind. But other than that, see y'all on the next one. Thanks for watching. Again, I'll link his height, weight, personal best, and video description. And notable accomplishments in the video description. And other than that, have a good day.